have a child with special needs?
Oh, Jordan? Yes, I do.
Where's Jordan at?
He's with his dad. He's gonna be visiting for the holiday.
It was Christopher's idea to bury your son in the backyard?
It was my idea, and he just did it. You think I don't feel guilty for that? You think I don't? I do, okay? And you're making it worse.
People often appear ordinary on the surface, living quiet lives that rarely draw attention. But sometimes, behind closed doors, disturbing secrets are carefully hidden from the outside world. In certain cases, the truth only begins to emerge when police are called to what seems like a routine situation.
Right now we got some people coming over to talk to you, okay?
I went down there and I said something, and he didn't wake up, and I shook him and didn't respond.
But what happens when that call leads officers to uncover something far more horrifying than anyone expected?
She's so smart. She's smarter than any of us here. She's smarter than me. She's smarter than any detective here. She's smarter than our chief of police here.
I think you are a product of your environment. I don't think you have empathy. I don't think you have any emotion whatsoever.
Here are cases where mothers' crimes were exposed, revealing the tragic consequences of cruelty and On December 18, 2017, officers received a 911 call reporting a tragic incident involving a young one.
But it's kind of I guess I need to talk to like a detective or somebody, or I don't know if you can. Basically, it's kind of messed up the whole situation, but my brother told me something, and I just can't sleep at night as far as, you know, what I don't know. I just kind of feel like I need to say something.
Something for concerning the brother?
Yeah, just what? I know. It sounds crazy, but
no,
what he told me.
Where does he?
He lives off of Detroit. So I don't know his direct address. Basically, he told me that something happened with one of the kids, and they didn't call the cops, and basically him and his girlfriend buried the kid in the backyard. Now, mind you, my brother is known to lie a lot, so I kind of like blew it off, and I was like, hey, man, I hope that ain't true. It's not his kid, it's one of her kids. What he told me was he came home, his girlfriend called him, he rushed home, and then, like, I think the little boy was like 4 or 5. Now, mind you, I've only seen these kids like one time, so I couldn't tell you who they are, what it is about, but he told me that the boy was unresponsive. And I was like, okay. Well, he's like, well, this kid had a lot of problems. Like, he had like one lung and one kidney, and I don't even know if that part is true because I don't know these kids, because he's only been with this girl maybe 2 years, and I've been like overseas the whole time. So I only really met her like maybe once or twice in my life. You know?
What is your brother's address?
That's the thing. I don't know his address. I can give you his name though. It's Christopher Rodriguez. And I think you can pull it up that way.
C. Christopher, with a K or a C?
Oh, what a C. What a C. Doesn't the story just sound crazy, though? It sounds absolutely insane, right?
Can you spell Rodriguez?
It's a common spelling. Rodriguez.
Okay. Do you know his date of birth?
Yeah, it's 1/12/80. No, I'm sorry, it's not 1/12 at all. I'm about to give you my birthday. It should be 8/11, but sometimes it's 8/12, so it's one of the two. Because basically, I know it is 8/12, but I know his birth certificate at one point said 8/11, so I don't know which one.
Okay, do you know?
It really goes off of.
Do you know his girlfriend's name?
Yeah, his girlfriend's name is Larissa Rodriguez. We're not married, and she just has last name and her name is L-A-R. I think it's L-A-R-R-I-S-S-A, or it's L-A-R-I-S-S-A.
After the 911 call, officers quickly mobilized and rushed to the scene, where concerns about the welfare of a little one.
She's got 5 kids. Are your kids here? You mind if you step in? Okay. You have one of about a 4 or 5 year old. How old are your children?
4?
Okay.
He just turned 4.
Is it a boy? A girl? What?
A little boy.
A boy. What's the boy's name?
Anthony.
Okay. See if you can get a name.
Is there anything?
Well, we got a call. Want us to check on the well-being of the 5-year-old, 4 to 5-year-old kid.
Oh, my kids are good.
Okay. What can we see?
They're like,
Okay, I believe you.
don't want me mad. But I have them all taken out in my room.
Okay. Okay.
Negative, just
My
on the
oldest
brother
one,
of
she's right
Christopher
there.
Rodriguez and his girlfriend, Larissa Rodriguez.
Let me know. Fine.
What's your name, ma'am?
Apparently, Larissa has 9 other children, and she told the other
Is there, I mean, a reason why?
Hold on. You have any ID or anything?
She said she has 9.
It's like 4 in that room up there.
The woman, identified as Larissa Rodriguez, spoke briefly about the father being unavailable and hinted at family complexities, mentioning that one of her young ones was away while providing only vague details about the other parent.
So Christopher's been in jail for how long?
Since October.
Since October.
Yeah. He's been in Medina County.
And look,
He's been there October 25th.
What's his last name?
Huh?
What's Christopher's last name?
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez? Is that your husband?
No, we're not legally married.
Gotcha. He's in jail in Medina?
Yeah. He's in Medina County. He's been in there since October 25th. October 24th, October 25th, something like
Do you have a child with special needs?
that. Oh, Jordan? Yes, I do.
How old is Jordan?
Jordan, he is just turned 5.
Where's Jordan at?
He's with his dad. He's going to be visiting for the holiday. He's not here with us right now, for the holiday.
Where's Dad at?
In Texas. He's not even here. Is that who you guys are pertaining to?
Maybe, possibly.
What was the call mainly about?
Just checking the welfare.
Oh. I get these all the time because I got ignorant ones who want to sit there for all on me.
Do you know, what's his dad's name, Jordan's dad?
Patrick. Pat?
Do you have a number to Patrick? Can we reach that?
we need a list of
Not
all your
right
kids'
now.
names.
A list? Can I get a pen? and paper?
Sure. Or you could tell me.
Here, I'll write it down because it's a lot easier.
Okay. Firstborn, all the way down the line. Supposedly Jordan is with Dad
Yes,
in
he's
Texas.
with Dad.
We can call him.
Yeah.
Huh? Right now, I don't have the number because he was going to get a new number.
Okay. But he's got family, so we can
Yes.
talk to them.
I mean, I don't know what this is pertaining to.
Larissa Rodriguez briefly alluded to a tangled family situation, offering only limited details and keeping much about her young ones unclear.
The oldest ones that they're probably talking about too is Angel Gilbert. I haven't had custody of them since years ago. Do you need that information too? Or
Well, you say you had
All
9.
your kids.
those? I'm only missing. Okay.
You got 9. You're a little short. A couple short there.
Okay, I'm gonna put the ones that I don't have right here, not custody.
Okay. And where are they at?
Those- These ones are, he went to foster care. One's with the grandmother. Then I have the other one who Dad took custody.
Okay.
So.
How long you live here, man?
I've been here
2 years.
Do I have to put where they?
Tell me something about Patrick. Do you know anything about Patrick?
He stays in Texas. I mean, we were together for about 2 years.
What's his last name?
Strong. We wasn't together actually too long. He was just like an internet thing.
Do you know his? Like when he was his birth date or anything?
No, that I did not. You know, we.
What's Jordan's last name?
Rodriguez. He took it from me.
Larissa appeared visibly nervous whenever officers asked about her dependents, repeatedly hinting that some were elsewhere, while keeping most details about their whereabouts and contacts vague.
So how many kids, you have these children to live with you, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 live with you.
Yes.
Do you live here by yourself, or do you
Yeah,
live with
technically,
anyone?
I'm here by myself. I mean, Chris comes and goes, you know, back and forth.
Chris is the one that's in jail right now.
Yes, he's been in jail since October 24th or October 25th.
And that's in Medina County.
Yes.
What was he arrested for?
He was arrested for child support.
Oh, child support?
Yes.
Jeez. How many kids did he have?
He has one.
One?
And he's 15. Yeah.
Oh, the other boy is 15? Okay. Okay. Man, I would really love to get in touch with Jordan.
Okay. Is there any way I can give you, when I find the number, to contact you?
Kids you got?
I got 2.
Any of the kids disabled?
He's not really disabled, but that's the one that's with his dad.
No?
No.
Oh, what do you mean?
He's just SSI. He can't talk.
How old is he?
He just turned 5.
Okay.
That's the one.
Where does he live?
He's
Texas.
staying. He doesn't live there, but he's just visiting for the holiday.
What? In Texas?
Yeah.
And where he usually lives here?
Yeah.
Okay. What? You got a family members in Texas?
That's why I said, is there a number or something where I can contact you guys?
How long has he been in
No,
Texas?
you can get it now. It's not a big deal. We'll wait.
How long has he been in Texas?
He's been only over there for a couple weeks. Because he goes over there to, visit and stuff like that.
Wait a minute, he goes where to?
No.
He goes.
Yeah.
He goes.
I want to say sperm donor, but
He goes to Texas to visit.
yeah. He goes there. He went there last year. Went there this year.
Okay.
Because he just goes to visit family out there. But I mean, other than that, he's here.
So Jordan has family members in Texas.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Do you know any numbers or how to get in touch with anybody who actually lives in Texas?
I mean, right now, his phone just got disconnected.
What's his address?
I'm waiting for him to call me.
What's his address?
I don't
you
know
just didn't
personally.
send the kid to who knows who, right?
I mean, no. I mean, I don't know the address personally because me and his dad don't really associate like that.
But you let him go with him, right?
Right. He just had his phone disconnected. He's going to be calling me with the phone number. So, and that's the only way I can contact him.
Officers then took Larissa into custody, bringing her to the station where detectives were ready to conduct a thorough questioning and gather information about the case.
We got a meeting with the prosecutor to decide what's going to happen. I am going to re-advise you your rights. You do have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in court of law. You have a right to an attorney. If you can't afford one, won't be appointed for you. Do you still understand your rights?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Some things have changed overnight. We did a lot more work on this. We just have a few questions. When this all happened, did you have a cell phone back then?
When this all happened, yeah. I just can't remember what number I had.
What kind of phone was it?
I had it was the same one as my daughter, the Samsung Galaxy on 5.
What color is it?
Silver and black.
Okay. Did you also have like a Samsung phone with a white backing? Like a brand new one?
Oh, I know which phone you're talking about. That we found, my daughter had found that. It was between 2 phones that was in the house. There was a bigger one.
Well, this one was found underneath your back porch.
Oh, probably my kids. Probably took it and threw it back there.
Which kid?
I don't know. Probably one of my little ones.
Why would they throw it
Because
back?
they play with it. It don't work. You know, we found it, and if we couldn't get it to break the code or whatever, Mariana found it when we was walking to the gas station. So we couldn't break the code or nothing, so we just let the kids play with it.
Okay. When I tell you some things have changed is we did talk with the coroner.
Okay.
And they finished their initial examination, and there are some problems.
Okay.
The problems being Jordan had an old left wrist fracture. His left wrist was broken at some point and it was healed. It healed on its own. How? That's something you need to tell us. Jordan also has 3 fractured left ribs that healed on their own and a fractured right rib that healed on its own. And these are all injuries that were healing on their own without medical help, which means he was in a lot of pain for a very long time, and you're not being honest about what was happening to this kid.
See, what happened, I mean, I personally didn't, but I was scared myself, okay?
Scared of?
I think talking to my sisters yesterday actually opened up my eyes a little bit and made me realize I should not be the only one taking full blame for this. I never put my hands on my kids. You can ask any of them. And a lot of people used to tell me maybe that's why sometimes your kids don't listen. You know, sometimes I need to be more rough on them, but that's just not in me. To sit here and...
I don't want to be that mother either. I just don't want to be that mother either.
Right, I don't. I mean, I was like that when I was little. I can't be that type of mom to sit there and expect you, okay, my kid may do something wrong, but I see other discipline, you know, timeouts, you know, corner, you know, bedroom, you know, sometimes my Help Me Grow worker even seen it herself. You know, no matter how bad my little ones can act up, I never had that in me to hit my kids. But I think I was just so scared because I used to get my beat by Chris just because I defended my kids.
Larissa spoke about her relationship and the challenges she faced with her young ones, hinting at struggles and moments of fear and isolation without revealing specific details.
How long were you and Chris together?
About 2 years.
Okay. And he was living with you from day one?
Yeah.
Our understanding is that you were dating someone else who moved out and you met Chris online?
I was with Jake.
Okay.
But Jake wasn't in the house for more than 2 weeks.
Right.
Since when
and he
I
left
first
and then
moved
Chris came in.
Right.
And you met him online?
Yes.
So, if I could interject.
Yeah, please.
So what I see happening is like, I think March of 2016, you were going through the process of trying to enroll Jordan in a class that's specific for him. But is it Chris that doesn't want him to do this? Or is... Because what I'm reading...
I did try to get him enrolled in school and stuff like that.
Because what I read was Jordan would have benefited from an environment with children like him. He is autistic, most probably.
Yes. And what I did was, it was almost through the year. So when I talked to the development for the school, I said, well, they either said, well, I could send him now or send him next year. I preferred that he would have started the following year, so that way he's got a whole entire full year. And that's what my, intentions was, to send him to school.
To put your kid at the front of the class as opposed to the... I did the same thing with my daughter.
Yes, because I wanted my son to actually be around other kids, to actually learn and to actually,
Sure, you don't want some coffee or water?
I'll take some.
Coffee?
Yeah.
Cream and sugar?
Yes, please. And I was doing what I can, and if you notice, none of my kids or nothing ever went through this until I got with Chris.
I know. That's why, listen, Nina, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. I'm a mother and you're a mother.
And
I know you're grieving.
My sisters made me realize that,
Listen, I know you had a horrible upbringing.
Terrible.
I know. So the most that we can do now is to, I understand where you're at, okay? But I have to press you on certain points. That's my job.
Understand.
And it's as a human being, I know it hurts you. I can see that it hurts you.
Since day one, ever since everything happened, I wanted to reach out. I wanted to tell somebody. The day it happened, the first person I wanted to talk to was my counselor. I wanted to tell her what happened just because I was just so scared. I needed somebody to confide in.
Okay.
And I don't have that support.
When you say the day that it happened, do you mean?
The same exact day.
September 21st?
Yes.
Okay.
I needed somebody to talk to.
She described how Jordan was treated differently, the tension and conflicts at home, and feeling trapped when she tried to intervene. Even after it was over, a sense of unease lingered, leaving her weighed down with anger, guilt, and helplessness.
I knew something was wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I just knew it. Okay, if he can hit on me, and he can discipline my other kids, but he wouldn't discipline them like he did Jordan.
Mm-hmm. How does he discipline Jordan?
It was just different. As far as how you said the sock in the mouth, none of my kids got the sock in the mouth, only Jordan. And I used to sit there and tell him, don't do that. I used to get yelled at. My kids all can tell you I defended all my kids. And that's where a lot of me and his arguments came in, because I did defend my kids. And that's where he would put his hands on me. He even put a sock in my mouth when I tried to yell for help. I felt like I was stuck. And every time something like that would happen, he would always bring up and make me feel like guilty, like I was the one who did that to Jordan. And I didn't hurt Jordan.
Well, so what, let me just say this. We've seen pictures. Up until Christopher Rodriguez comes in the picture, he's a healthy child.
He was healthy.
He was healthy. However, for whatever reason, he focused on that child. I don't know what that reason was.
And he tried to keep everybody away from me. I couldn't have friends. I couldn't have family. I couldn't have nobody.
I may have missed this. Did he actually physically him? Did you see him?
A few times that I've seen, yes.
Okay. And what did he do?
He would smack them. He would, me personally, didn't see him fracture anything. I wasn't around, or if I went to the store, or if I, went out with my kids or something.
You won't see a fracture.
You won't. That's why it shocked me, because
it's a compound fracture.
Right, because my son had a fracture when he jumped off the bicycle. He was on the bike with my older son. So I know, I took him to the hospital for that fracture.
But a rib fracture? You don't see that.
But see, I wish I would, it was just like Jordan trying to tell me something. When I told you that when he finally took his last breath, it was like he was mad. I seen in his face like he just wanted to tell me something. But I just didn't know what that something was. And with him being speechless, I couldn't understand what it was. But I could tell it was just something so mad. Angry. And I thought he was trying to cuss me out or something, but I took it as he was just trying to tell me, Mom, I love you, I gotta go, But in my heart, something told me that he had something to do with this. Because every time after this happened, I just hated him. I hated everything. I just couldn't stand to be around him.
Did you ever ask him to leave?
I did. And he told me that if I was to call the cops, that he had the gas in his name, that they would tell me that he resides there, that he can't leave. So I just felt like I was trapped. And I even told him, this is my house. You have to go. But then he always threw up. Well, if he leaves, he's calling the cops and he's blaming everything on me. Which I didn't hurt Jordan. I take the fault for not taking him to the doctor. Yes, that was my...
During questioning, she recounted speaking with Chris the day detectives arrived, noting his unusual calm. She spoke briefly about her older family members and the challenges at home, hinting at events that left her shaken and uncertain.
I think it was...
You do know we're going to go talk to Chris. Have you talked to him at all during this time?
No.
Talked to him before you were put in jail?
I talked to him. It was the same day you guys all came. I mean, not you guys, but when they came to the house, and to me, it just seemed like he didn't care.
What did you tell him?
Like, I told him...
He was in jail at the time?
Yes, he called me about 6 o'clock that evening, because that's when he got supposedly off of work, from in the work or whatever he did in the kitchen. And he's like, what's going on? I guess because the detectives went to talk to him. And when they went to talk to him, I guess they were asking him questions. He didn't specifically go into... He just wanted to know more about what happened on my side.
What you said.
Right. So when I sat there and I told him, and he was just like... He didn't seem like I was. You know, like I was scared. I was nervous. I'm, you know, shaking and spooked. And, you know, he just seemed so calm. And, you know, like...
Did he tell you what to say, what you should say, what you shouldn't say?
No. That's why when you guys came and say, now he changed up his story to something about December 2nd, that's because he heard me say it over the phone. He didn't know anything about what I told the police. But
so when we confront him with Jordan's injuries, is he going to tell us otherwise, that you're the one who did it?
A woman can't do it hit that much harder. And you know what? Anybody can tell you that. And I say that...
That's not true.
I mean, he's a lot stronger than I am. And me personally, you could even ask my older son. My older son will tell you. No, Angel.
Angel?
My older son will be the one to, if anything, between my older son and my oldest daughter.
Do you know how we would get a hold of Angel? I mean, do you know that number? Does he live on Wade Avenue with his dad? Or do they live someplace else in the first day?
His dad moved. I could try to get my little sister to contact Angel.
Okay.
Yeah. Because Angel right now, they message through Facebook Messenger. But I remember him leaving my oldest daughter a message with a phone number.
The oldest daughter is Mariana?
Yes. But I don't even know if the detectives got her phone. I mean, I tried calling. She's not answering. So I don't know if the detectives got it for like evidence or something like that.
Yeah, I don't have an answer. I don't think they do, but we'll find out.
Okay, because I've been trying to call her just to see how she's been doing.
Well, I think right now she's in custody with foster care. So I think right now it's probably in her best interest that they keep the kids away from all this. Give them a break.
Right.
Christmas is coming up.
Yeah.
New Year's is coming up. Let them enjoy the holidays. They're going through enough right now. Because we're going to sit down with Mariana and have a talk with her too, but we're trying to give her some time to...
And can you guys at least tell her so that way she doesn't feel like she's scared, she doesn't have to talk? Can you guys please tell her that you guys know that I did open up and tell them and tell you guys?
We will tell her that you told us.
Because she doesn't open up too much.
It was noted that her daughter stayed close to the family and remained under supervision. Care was taken to ensure she had space to express herself and process the situation with the adults in the home.
Traumatic. And when they find out that Jordan is deceased, it will further be traumatic. So in their first visit, a counselor from Frontline will be with them.
Okay.
And they will explain to them that Jordan is deceased. And then Ray and I would like to sit down with Mariana because she's the oldest, and it's my understanding, you can correct me if my understanding is wrong, she was close with Jordan. And it's also my understanding that Mariana may have been touched physically by Christopher Rodriguez.
No, not in my knowledge. Okay. Mariana, and I know that for a simple fact because Mariana was always with me.
Okay.
Mariana's a mama's girl.
Okay.
She's never been alone with him.
That's good.
She's always, every time I go to the store, it's Mom, I'm going with you. You know, so that for a fact, I know.
Has she ever witnessed anything between you and Chris?
No. I mean, are you talking about? No.
Okay.
No, none of my kids.
Okay.
None of my kids. I'm not that type of mom where we sit there and make it. You know,
I don't think you are, but if he's a predator, in other words, if he's attracted to you because he's got a home with you, he's got somebody putting a roof over his head and feeding him, and he's really attracted to kids, then he's playing you to get to her. And she may be afraid to tell you that.
Okay. As a mom, will you guys look into that for me?
I absolutely will.
I mean, because I personally don't think that, but who knows, you know? And I say that because I was, you know, touched when I was little, when I was 5 years old, by my foster brother, my 18-year-old foster brother. And they always say, if it happened to you, it could be possible it happened to your child. And I just want to make sure that that's cleared.
Well, I want to give her the floor to share that with me, if it has happened. And she has a unique relationship with her brothers and sisters in that.
And I also said that too, because her bond with Chris wasn't too. Mariana's one. She doesn't cling on to everybody. You know, as far as males. You know, as far as Mom, yeah, she's very close to that. She's always been with me. Dad's never been there. You know, she's never really had a father figure to step up and be that father figure, which she thought was Chris until the day Chris put his hands on me. You know?
The detective noted signs of malnutrition in Jordan. She described changes in his eating habits over the summer, but offered possible explanations, while the overall picture suggested prolonged concern.
Let me ask you this. Is he, what you described to me about Jordan losing weight in his arms while developing a pot belly, that's malnutrition?
See, you can, even when you talk to my daughter, that's why I thought something was wrong going on with his kidney.
Okay, but
because he was losing the weight, he was doing, you know, but...
I'm not saying you did this. My question is that some sort of discipline that he does to this child?
No.
Does he withhold food from him?
No. That's why none of us ever thought it would have been anything like that. Me, I thought it was his kidney because when he eat, everybody eat. All my kids eat first. I served every single last kid of mine first. And my daughter and my son, anybody can tell you. When I cook big meals. Mm-hmm. And Jordan, he was one to always eat. Mm-hmm. Always. We got pizza, he eats like 5-6 pieces of pizza. And you know, it surprises me because he was like, where do you put it, Jordan? You know, like, I mean, he always ate. That's why it surprised me when he started kind of losing his appetite. And I used to have to sit with him and say, Jordan, you got to at least eat something. At least take a couple bites. Well, you know, because I never had that problem with him.
When does he begin losing his appetite?
I don't know the specific date. I mean...
Roughly 2 months.
Summertime, springtime, wintertime?
I could say it was about maybe summer, early summer. You know, he started losing appetite. I got him to at least drink something. I don't, you know, like some behaviors where I saw where I'm called for. Sometimes Jordan will wake up. I mean, remember how I told you, like, with his rocking?
That's a signature. I don't mean to...
No, he's always did that ever since when he was
That's sort of a signature of children who have spent time in an incubator or children who are autistic. They will rock and self-soothe themselves.
She described Jordan's unusual behaviors at home, including self-soothing and nighttime routines. Some behaviors were noted as possibly linked to his early birth, while similar patterns later appeared in her younger son, raising concerns about what these actions might indicate.
I even asked the doctor too, and I was like, why does he do that? You know, I guess
self-soother.
Because I wasn't there to, you know, rock him and cuddle him, and you know, until he was 4 months. That was what he used to do. And then used to get up in the middle of the nighttime. I used to, like, he would sleepwalk. So I would, you know, sometimes have to keep an extra eye on him because I caught him one time going to the bathroom, getting toilet water and drinking toilet water. And I'm looking like, why is he, you know, like, is he even alert when he's doing this? You know, it would be like certain behavior, you know, like, and I used to have to stop him. He'd go straight to the refrigerator. I don't even know if he's like awake when he's doing this or if he's sleeping or, you know, it's just things that I had to watch out with him. And he would just like get into anything and everything. And I noticed that when he did it, even after Jordan was gone, my other son was doing it. My other little son, my 4-year-old. And I'm looking like, is it because he watched Jordan do it? Or why is he doing the same thing that Jordan was doing?
It's a good question. I don't know.
I mean, is it a behavioral thing? I mean, it's just something that I was, okay, I recognize that. Jordan used to do that. You know, like, and it was just, and Jordan was perfectly fine. It was just something I felt like in that house too. Like it was not really wanting us there. You know, like a sense of something. And I guess I don't know if you guys heard about this, but I found out after I moved there. Because when I went to see the house, it had a caution thingy wrapped around it. Kind of like on the front bush. And I looked like maybe it was just for a Halloween decoration or something. But the neighbors and somebody had told me that actually a father had his son. Or something happened there. So it kind of like, you know, like, wait a minute, you know, this house is just like bad luck. You know, and I mean, Jordan's behaviors didn't start till we moved there in that house. I never seen Jordan behavior act any different. You know, his behavior just changed. You know, it's just like I had to observe him a lot more there. You know, things that he was doing, I've never seen him do.
Well, to be fair, by the time you moved there, he's really developing. Might be a little bit delayed.
Right, and he was 3 months delayed.
He's probably even more delayed than that. If we didn't get him into school, but he's developing into himself at age 3. So, is it a coincidence? I don't know. Is there something to do with this house? Perhaps.
But after you know, the things happened with Jordan, my other little one, he was 3 when he was doing the same thing Jordan was doing.
Right. Is it a coincidence? I don't know. Is there, obviously you believe in spirits.
I've went through a couple things myself. So that's why, like, I mean,
I believe in spirits too.
Accounts portrayed Christopher as intensely angry and controlling, directing his hostility toward Jordan. His actions, isolating Larissa and obsessively monitoring, were presented as signs of instability and paranoia.
Good soul with light in it, or does he have a black soul?
I say he's got a little bit of both. But when his anger comes out, it's terrible.
So he's an angry black cloud.
Yeah, I could say he went through a lot of things too in his life, but I mean, I've never been with somebody so angry like that. I mean,
everybody sitting here in this room has been through some horrible things in their life.
Right.
And
I mean, I even did too. But I mean,
but you didn't. I turn them around to your kids.
No, never.
But
never.
The difference is, and this is my experience of 10 years working over there. Those ain't his kids.
Right.
His mouth may say, "These are my kids."
Right. But his action speaks.
But at the end of the day, that's some other man's kid. And if he's interfering with my time, with you,
right, And
then
his thing was always, oh, you know, your baby daddy's going to try to come back and this and this and that. And, oh, that's my kid. And, you know, it was always just something with him. I mean,
so he's jealous in addition
Yeah.
to all that? He's a jealous guy?
Very, very. And that's one reason why I don't have my Facebook, is because I get compliments about how pretty I am and this and this and that. And all I said was thank you. It was a compliment. That's what you say when somebody gives you a compliment, right? Thank you.
Right.
There was no conversation other than thank you. And I had to hear it.
Male or female? Could be.
There was one time everything was perfectly fine. He was sitting up in the room. Says that the ghost spirit in the house, the female ghost spirit that we have in our house, sat there and told him to look at my Facebook. Looking on somebody in the past.
Let's see if our 9 o'clock can set up the other one.
It was somebody in the past that we never did anything. We were friends.
Okay.
Nothing. And I got accused.
Listen, I have a really unique perspective into what your life is like.
The detective spoke with empathy, sharing personal reflections and encouraging Larissa to confront past patterns and make choices that could help her move forward.
With what you had, but that guy was using you.
And that's why I told my sisters too. I said, if I ever get up out of here, I'm not going back. My sister says that they would help me get back on my feet, do what I have to do, because I was always had my own. Always had my kids. My kids have never been a day without me. This is my first Christmas without my kids.
At the end of the day, and I understand how you feel about if I ever get up out of here. I don't know what they're going to charge you with. My suspicion is it's going to be murder B. That's my suspicion.
And what gets me is he's not going to get charged for anything.
Oh, now that's not going to be true. And that's not going to be true.
And what is B?
It's it's causing the death of another without a plan to actually do it.
And how much time am I really looking at? Can you tell me?
I can't.
Or just like a kind of, like a...
I would say, honestly, I would say probably double digits.
What's that?
At least in the neighborhood of a double digit. Now, I don't know what happens later on down the line. And I'm not in charge of that. I can only tell you that I had one other scenario that was very similar to this, and that particular female is doing 8 years. But I would submit this to you. Were it me in your shoes, I would be thankful that my children are in homes where the adults can take care of them. This is not going to prohibit you from having conversation with your children. This is not going to prohibit you from having a place in your children's life. You will still have communication with them. And you have a unique opportunity here. It doesn't matter what you do to your children. They will always love you. The important thing here is that you tell the truth, all the truth, even the truth as they see it. You ask for forgiveness and you move forward. Christopher, and I promise you, I know you wanted to punch me in the nose yesterday, and I accept that.
I was being sarcastic. I'm so sorry.
You weren't being sarcastic. You were angry. And it's my job.
But I'm not a fighter.
It's my job to make you angry.
I think I kind of got off that way because I'm so used to like being like when the guys come at me like that. it just, I don't know, it's just like...
Do you understand that it's your eternal need to be with a guy that is attracting guys like that?
And that's what I need to change.
Well,
and
this is a unique opportunity to do that.
I have to do for
that
myself.
part of you.
Right.
So kids who are touched when they're kids wind up either hyper promiscuous or they wind up not at all promiscuous. It's up to you what you decide you were. But at the end of the day, both camps only feel good about themselves if they have a significant other.
When questioned about that morning, Larissa hinted that something had happened to Jordan and did not dispute the detective's suggestions, expressing a lingering sense that Christopher was involved.
I think that morning, technically, something had to happen. I don't know what it could have been. Something had to happen because Jordan wouldn't just collapse like that. You know, I don't know if maybe he might have pushed him, shoved him, punched him, could have even punched him.
Does he punch him?
Who knows? No, I've never seen him. But I mean, if you're talking about any type of fractures, I mean, who's to say?
There's a big difference between a child in the face where you're going to see the mark, a child.
I'm going to interview the other one now.
Okay. A child in the rib cage, and no one sees that. So what I'm saying to you is, this guy's a street dude. He knows how to hit.
Right.
He knows how to hit somebody in soft places with a hard object and not leave a mark. So what did he put a kidney shot on that boy? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Who's to say?
What did he was off at that kid for whatever reason, puts a kidney shot on the good kidney, and it's lights out.
Shut down.
Yeah. So now we could be very likely leaning toward a situation where Jordan was beaten to death based upon all these pre-mortem injuries that are in different stages of healing.
And something told me, I don't know what it was, it's just a feeling that he had something to do with this. Because I not once, ever, and as you've seen for yourself, pictures and everything, I've always posted, my kids were always healthy, I've always took care of my kids. I never hit my kids. Everybody used to tell me, even the officer at the house, as you can, he's like, maybe you need a spanking. You know, and that's not in me to do that. You know, when I was little, I got hit with extension cords. I got hit with boards. I had to kneel on rice on a carpet. And I told myself, those are things I never want my kids to go through. Nothing.
The detective revisited the importance of taking responsibility, and Larissa admitted to lapses in care while overwhelmed and struggling with postpartum stress. She framed these as mistakes under pressure rather than intentional harm.
I did.
Did he make Jordan sit in the closet?
Not that I know of. Not that I know of, but it can't no say when I step out or, you know, something like that. But as far as the closet goes, I know my kids play in the closet. That's all I know. You know, my kids love to sit there and hang on the little bar thingy. And one time I caught my little one just sitting on the shelf up there. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? You know, typical kids.
Playhouse.
You know? But as far as that, I don't know. But my Jordan didn't deserve any of this. None.
Well, and what I suggested to you yesterday is that the only way you heal yourself from all of this is to take responsibility for your side of the street. Meaning, if I drank, if I doped, if I didn't keep house, if I didn't put sheets on your bed, if I didn't feed you, if I was overwhelmed, if I didn't do my part to take care of you, then I own that. And
no, just like I take the responsibility. I didn't take him to the doctor. That was my fault. I mean, I didn't call the ambulance when he needed it. That was my fault. I also had part in putting him there because I just had a baby. So, you know, and I'm feeling depressed. I diagnosed with PTSD, you know,
and probably postpartum.
And, you know, I didn't know what to do. You know, I just got scared, and I just was like, you know, and I wasn't ready to let Jordan go because I've been through so much with Jordan.
Questions arose about Jordan's biological father, Patrick Strong. Larissa noted his absence and said she wanted her sister to manage Jordan's remains, while the detective acknowledged his legal rights but saw little chance he would intervene.
Counselor has a preemie, so she was working with me on some things that I could do with Jordan.
Well, let me ask you this. I don't know who Patrick Strong is. My understanding from you is that this was a one-time liaison with him, or a couple of time liaison with him?
Yeah, and then I got pregnant, and here comes Jordan, and I didn't want nothing to do with him. He didn't want nothing to do with me.
Okay.
So I told him, I sent him back, and I told him, you need to go to Texas, back home where, you know, where you are.
So, but my question to you is, not to cut you off, and I know you need to talk about this stuff to get it out. The law says that he has a right to Jordan because he's the father. What that he never comes forward or we don't find him?
He's not going to come forward. He's not.
Then whom would you want to have Jordan? Michelle?
My sister, and I talked to her last night.
Michelle or Anna?
Michelle.
Okay.
Because she's more responsible. Michelle's more responsible. She's the oldest.
So in the absence of Patrick Strong, you would want her to have Jordan's remains?
Yes.
And to follow through with what she wanted to do, which was a cremation?
Yes.
And to divide the remains between his siblings?
I think that would be best. I talked to her yesterday, and I told her I was going to let you know that, you know, because we all agree, he's never been there. He never wanted no part of Jordan. And even on Facebook, I could even show you from old messages. You know, I sent him pictures of when he was in the NICU.
Mm-hmm.
I told him when he was born. I didn't have to tell him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those are things that even I try to connect with his sister. I didn't get nothing from
Well, what if they come back and they do want him? Then what?
I doubt it. I mean...
But if they do, then there's nothing we can do. I hope not, for your sake. And
me personally, I don't think they will. They've never stepped up before. So I'm thinking, we just got to think I'm just going to have my sister do everything until further notice. If he does come through, if he doesn't, I don't know.
Okay.
But
do you have any questions for me at this juncture?
No. But would I still be able to see him or no?
So
to at least say my last, finals to him. If I can't, I'll just, say him in prayer or whatever to myself. But I think I just kind of need that, close.
The detective discussed the next steps and reassured her that all parties involved would be addressed. Larissa reflected on the situation and expressed gratitude for the support from her family.
Yes. I'm going to charge you today at some point, and you'll probably go to court in the morning. And then in the morning, we're going to talk to the other half of the equation in Medina County.
Yeah. Good luck with that.
Well, I really don't care if he speaks or not. And I want you to know that I helped to arrange the visit with your sisters.
Thank you. That helped a lot.
You can't go through this alone. And what I would say to you is I've had members of my own family do big chunks of time for some really up shit.
And they told me, Larissa, you've never had a record. You shouldn't even be here.
Well, this is...
And now I feel bad because my little sister, she's taking it hard.
Well...
And I know that she feels it's her fault. And it's not her fault.
I assured her that the other half of the equation will be held responsible for his part in it. Because it's undeniable that when he comes into the picture, that this child's life changed irrevocably. So,
because I was in plenty other relationships before him and nothing happened.
Larissa Rodriguez was charged with felonious assault, 2 counts of child and offenses against a human corpse. Christopher Rodriguez, her boyfriend, was charged with involuntary child corpse and tampering with evidence. Larissa Rodriguez appeared in the courtroom, the weight of the case pressing in. The evidence and prior admissions spoke volumes as she listened quietly, leaving the court to determine her fate.
The defendant has previously entered pleas of guilty to count 1, a felony of the 3rd degree, count 2, a felony of the 3rd degree, count 3, a felony of the 4th degree, and count 4, a felony of the 3rd degree. The court has received and reviewed the sentencing memorandums as well as the PSIs. I'm prepared to pass sentence. The state is present. Would you like them to go first, or do you want to go first?
I would defer to the state, yes.
Mr. Meyer?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just like the co-defendant in this case, we have filed the sentencing memo and made what we believe are the relevant points. Although I would add one fact that I did not include in that memo. The state has evidence that defendant Rodriguez also used money from the sale of her EBT card to buy gas and to facilitate visits to her boyfriend, who at the time was in prison in Medina County. So she was using the EBT money for personal expenses. I think that's relevant to the overall request that we've made for incarceration of both defendants. The conduct of this defendant is equally serious, but for different reasons. These were her children, and before any other expense in her life got paid, she had a duty of care to provide for her children. And instead, she sold these food stamp benefits for 50 cents on the dollar to meet her own personal needs. This came to light when one of her own children was buried in her backyard, and as the court has indicated already, most likely would continue into the future had this not been uncovered through the investigation. So again, Your Honor, for the reasons we've outlined in our sentencing memorandum, this is extremely egregious conduct. Children were harmed as a result of these offenses, and the state submits that prison is an appropriate punishment, and probation would truly demean the seriousness of these offenses. Thank you.
Mr. Standard?
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. I have read the pre-sentence report. It does appear to be accurate. Your Honor, the defendant has admitted her guilt, and she stands ready to accept the punishment that the court deems appropriate at this time, and I thank the court.
Would you like to speak? You don't have to if you don't want to. It's up to you.
The court pronounced its judgment, the weight of the proceedings settling over Larissa Rodriguez. She listened quietly as the decision was delivered.
Prison term is appropriate, therefore your sentence is as follows. Count 1, felony of the 3rd degree, 3 years in prison. Count 2, a felony of the 3rd degree, 3 years in prison. Count 3, a felony of the 4th degree, 15 months in prison. Count 4, a felony of the 3rd degree, 3 years in prison. Counts 1 and 4 to be served consecutive to each other for a 6-year sentence. Counts 2 and 3 to be served concurrent to those sentences previously imposed. You're subject to post-release control on each count for up to 3 years. If you violate the conditions of post-release control, the parole board must impose an additional prison term for up to 1/2 of the term that I've imposed. Fines, fees, and costs are waived as you remain indigent and are still a prisoner in the county jail due to your other case. You are subject to restitution order, joint and several with your co-defendant, your amount being $5,029, payable to the Ohio Department of Jobs and Family Services. Any questions from the state? Any questions from the defense?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you.
Christopher Rodriguez was sentenced to 28 years in prison for his role in the boy's death and backyard burial. While Larissa Rodriguez's actions shocked investigators, another case would soon reveal an even more disturbing pattern of cruelty, one involving a boy named Timothy Ferguson. What began as a quiet day turned tragic on July 6, 2022, when a young boy was found unresponsive in the basement, sending police and first responders rushing to the scene.
Right now we got some people coming over to talk to you, okay? You have another son inside the house?
I have 2. Yeah.
Are they sleeping still right now?
One of them is, yeah. The 1-year-old's awake.
He's 20?
No, the 20-year-old's awake.
Okay.
He's been wearing really loose clothes the last couple of weeks.
He's really skinny.
He's really skinny, and I didn't notice till this morning because he wouldn't, like, I asked him if he's okay, and he would not answer me. Like, he's 15, he's been... I had no clue how bad it was. Oh my God. Like I said, he did this back in, my husband's stroke was January 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
So he did this back in, I don't know, second week of January for almost 3 weeks. And then he ate something last night. I can't remember what it was now, I'm sorry.
It's okay. Where's your husband now?
He's down at his parents' house because he can't get in our house because of his drunk. He can't get up the stairs.
Oh.
And nobody's answering the phone at their house. Oh. How did it... Oh.
You can go back in the house if you want, but I can't. I gotta keep the basement secure. You can't go down there, okay?
I get it. I had no idea. I would have taken him in or something. Oh.
Now, you said the last time you saw him was 5:30 this morning?
Yeah.
Did he say anything?
He had fallen out of bed.
At 5:30?
Yeah.
You sure it wasn't earlier?
I mean, it's possible. I thought it was 5:30, but I wasn't super awake. I heard a thump, and I came down, and he's kind of laying on his side, kind of like, what the heck? And I reached out, and I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Sorry. Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah. And I reached out and he pulled himself up, and I asked him if he's okay, and I just asked if he hit his head. He said, no, I think I hit my knees on my chest. I think he couldn't tell me how he fell. Oh my God. No, I don't know what to do. Oh my God. He said it was...
While the officer tried to get the full story from the mother, her version of events only deepened the mystery.
He's been wearing baggy. I mean, he was wearing a hoodie, for crying out loud, and I just didn't... His face didn't look like that. What the heck?
Now, what's your first name, ma'am?
Shanda, S-H-A-N-D-A.
And what's your last name? Is it Ferguson also?
No, it's Vander, V-A-N-D-E-R, space capital A-R-K. That's why I asked him to eat last night, because his face started looking a little thin. I'm like, okay, enough. And he wouldn't show. I'm like, let me see. Hold your shirt up. And he wouldn't hold his shirt up. He wouldn't do anything.
Did he get real skinny last time, too?
Yes. The only reason I know is because my 7-year-old walked in on him accidentally when he was in the shower downstairs. And then my 7-year-old comes up and he's like, Mama, Timothy's really skinny. I was like, oh, crap.
Was that this time or last time?
That was last time. That was like first week of February is when DC discovered that. And I told him he was either going to start eating multiple times a day, or I was taking him to the hospital, and he didn't want to go to the hospital, so he
ended up eating on his own.
Yes.
Okay. And then, so this last time, was it because your husband's wasn't home?
Well, he hasn't been home since January 3rd, but he had a grand mal seizure. God, it's been 3 weeks ago now. And it was right after that, he actually mentioned he was hungry the day his dad and stepmom called to tell us they were divorced and moving to Florida last week.
Where do they live?
They lived in Oklahoma, but they moved to outside of Jacksonville, Florida, and they're not answering their phone either.
Okay. And that's his biological father?
Yeah. Yeah. He moved up here with us last May because his dad couldn't handle him. And he's been great. I mean...
Last May, like, as in May of last year or this year?
Yeah, May of last year.
Okay.
May of last year.
And he goes to school and everything, he was?
I've been homeschooling him online because it's high functioning. He's just done better at it. I can show you his grade report online. I've got all it's online.
Okay. Is he doing okay?
Yeah, he was failing math, which is not unusual, but he was passing everything else.
What's his date of birth?
8/6/2006. I tried to check in the last few days, and he just wouldn't let me anywhere near him. He didn't want a kiss, a hug, nothing.
Probably didn't want you to give him a hug, because then you could tell that he was...
I would have known. And like I told him, he was stumbling a little bit last night, but he's not the most coordinated kid in the world. And he said he was okay. And then he ate.
What was the last time he ate, you think?
Last night. No, Gabriel, keep him up there. He ate toast.
There's two. There's a 7-year-old and a 20-year-old.
The 7-year-old was asleep. I guess he's not now. Oh my God. I should have made him eat. I just know. I feel like such a failure. You see there's food in the house. Oh my God.
Where does he sleep at? Right there? In that room?
That lost bed.
Later, officers spoke with Timothy's older brother, hoping he could provide clarity on the day's events, as they were still struggling to piece together the timeline.
And when was the last time you talked to Tim?
Yesterday morning when I was getting him up.
No, yesterday afternoon before you left for work. Before I picked you up and took you to work because your e-bike tire was flat. You talked to him then.
I got off of work at 1
Alright.
this morning.
Has he talked to you recently about his problems at all, or what he's dealing with?
No, he never said any of his word to me.
Did you guys have normal conversations?
I think the last time we did was before all of this happened. After that,
They literally, because he works a lot and they didn't talk.
And sometimes brothers will tell each other what
That's true.
they're not willing to tell their parents.
Why you went on hunger strike? I mean, I'm assuming it's you.
The next day, officers executed a search warrant, collecting crucial evidence, took the mother into custody, and questioned Paul, the older brother, as they worked to piece everything together.
Yes. How did that kind of all transpire? I don't know how it ended up here.
I was, from what I know that my mother had come, I think, down here.
Okay.
Or something. I think it was in the recorder. I don't exactly know the full details.
Okay.
But, she left my stepfather's phone with me. I don't have any access to anything. The only thing that I would be able to do is if the person she's with, I think his name is Stephen? Or Stanley, yes, thank you. If he would contact, I would be able to pick that up, but nothing else.
Were you supposed to work today, or?
No.
So you didn't have work today?
No, I've got a couple of days off.
Okay. You go back
Saturday, Sunday. I think it's a morning shift.
Are you working 2 different jobs? Did you say you were working 2 different jobs?
No, I used to work 2 different jobs.
Did you say that?
In Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. Because I think your brother was like, I want to work 2 jobs. And you're like, no, you don't.
4 hours of sleep maximum was a nightmare.
That's a joke. That's not even funny, actually. Yeah, 4 hours doesn't sound like a lot to get anything done. What kind of jobs are you doing there?
Fast food.
Okay.
And I had one before, and then after I graduated from an alternative school early, I started the second one that was by my biological father's demands, basically.
Okay. Have you talked to him at all recently, biological father? Does he know about what's going on? Or?
I don't think quite yet. The last time we talked to him was last week.
Okay.
He and my stepmother got a divorce. So they called and let us know about all that.
What is your relationship like with him? I mean, do you try to associate with him at all, or not really?
Not really. I found out that a lot of what he's told me about my biological mother.
The phone evidence was undeniable. When detectives showed Paul his own messages, the words told a story he could no longer deny.
And, I know that night Timothy did eat because we had pizza. He had 3 slices.
I want to stop it for just a second because...
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't want to talk anything specific about the case just yet. Since the police showed up at your house and they brought you down here, I want to advise you some rights before we talk about that sort of thing. What I do want you to know, though, is that we went through the phones, okay? And we're beginning to go through the phones, and there's a lot of evidence in the phones, and I know that you're kind of aware of communication between yourself and your mother.
Yes.
And those sort of things. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, certainly, those are very serious things that you guys are talking about.
Yeah.
And, I mean, from what I saw, it sounds like you were compassionate in that you cared about him, and you sent some pictures that were like, he's looking too skinny, and we need to feed him. And, you know, so sometimes you got frustrated, but at the end of the day, you kept coming back to caring. But the end result of that, he passed away, right? And he passed away from...
The truth about Timothy's confinement began to surface as Paul spoke, revealing horrors far beyond what investigators had expected, and it was just the beginning of what he would admit.
I mean, I think you have to think about this. Right now is not a time about blaming people, but it's a time to try to figure out, you know, when could we have changed things? What could we have done differently? How did we get to the point where we were at? Because, you know, clearly where you guys got to, when you say you was in the bath, that wasn't a nice, enjoyable bath, though, right? That was a punishment bath, right? That's a cold, ice-cold bath. And that's hard to understand.
I did wash that. I did tell him that if he wanted to wash up, and he did, but then in the middle of it, I think the whole laying there in a daze happened.
When he's getting these ice baths, I know there's numerous of them, right? I mean, because I've read through the messages.
Yes.
How are you getting the ice? Like, where's it coming from?
We have an ice machine upstairs. It's not a lot. It can barely create any. It's enough to make it a full-on.
But it's a cold bath.
Yeah.
And you're putting ice in there? Like, one dump of ice?
One dump. Yeah, it's maybe that much.
And then you're just running cold water, or what type of water?
The water doesn't exactly feel cold. Okay. It says there's a cold button, but it's basically sort of lukewarm-ish.
How many times would you estimate that you guys gave cold baths as a punishment for not yelling or whatever, for whatever reason?
I think for punishments, it was... I don't exactly know the number, but it wasn't a lot.
Are we talking like 5, 10, 20, every day, every other day? Like any idea?
5.
Whose idea was it to give him a cold bath as a punishment?
It was my mother's. I wasn't sure if it would be a punishment effective or not.
Do you remember the first time you guys did it? Like why? Like what did you do?
Not exactly.
What did you do on that day that you sent the photo that made you have to give him a cold bath?
I think it was that he not only did, but also, and my mother wasn't too happy because it absolutely reeked.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about bed. I understand we've been to the house and been through all the messages.
Yeah.
Where did you sleep most of the nights? In that closet?
Yes.
When did that kind of start happening? Or had he always been staying there?
No, he hadn't always.
Okay.
But the thing was, the loft bed, if you've noticed, just screws and stuff.
Next came the grim details about the food, and they were difficult to hear. Weeks of the same deprivation, day after day, and Paul finally revealed whose decision it had been.
What dictates whether or not there's hot sauce on the barbecue to you? What decides that?
I don't know. Whenever my mother told me to put hot sauce on it, I did. It was normally a thin layer to make sure that it wouldn't be too much. Because from what I know, the California Reaper is like 2,000 Scoville, or 2 million Scoville.
What does that mean?
It's the hot sauce, or the heat index, basically.
Okay. And that's pretty high?
Very.
So how long have you guys been using hot sauce for?
Almost a month, maybe.
Okay. And was that only on bread, or was that on other stuff too?
I think one time we put it in some rice.
Okay.
But after that, I don't think we did that again.
What was it used for, right? Because you're giving them bread, I think you know. What's the purpose of the hot sauce?
I know it was punishment, but honestly, I don't think it was that useful because, like I said, he had no feeling in his tongue. He totally bit a hole in it at one point and didn't even feel it.
Was he eating his bread with hot sauce, or was he?
Yeah, he was.
Is that really the only things he had to eat those days, or would he get other things to eat?
From the bread and rice, other than that, not that I know of.
Okay. So for how long do you think he just ate rice and bread and hot sauce?
Maybe like 4 months, maybe. Or 1 month, sorry. I was thinking 4 weeks and my brain scrambled.
We totally understand. I understand what you're saying. So maybe about 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Did you see a decline in him during that 4 weeks of losing even more weight or being even less responsive? Or what changed when you moved into doing that?
I think it was that there would be times where it would take him a moment to respond. At first I thought it was just him acting, but then I was getting concerned, I think a week or so maybe ago.
Okay. That his responses are delayed? Is that
yeah, and
as a matter of fact, I think you mentioned that to your mom multiple times, right? That he doesn't seem to be responding, that he can't walk very well, that he's stumbling. I think you mentioned those things.
Yeah.
What was her response to those things?
I think she was thinking, because there was one point where he did that, but it was before he was thin.
Yeah.
And it scared the crap out of me, but then he admitted to my mother later that day while I was at work that it was an act.
Okay.
So I guess she made the mistake of believing that was what it was. I know that he's done stuff like that back in Oklahoma too. He would, to trick them by moving so slow, or they'd be on his door and it'd be moving so slow that it wouldn't set it off, so you'd get away with stuff.
Okay.
So
you're saying standing still, was that like a punishment that he was forced to stand
on the
still?
wall, yeah, against the wall.
Was that regular that he had to do that? Like how often was he having to stand against the wall?
Since 2 weeks ago, it wasn't very often.
Okay. Just because he couldn't physically stand against the wall anymore?
No, it was that, I guess that it just didn't work, because if he wouldn't set it off when he was against the wall, he would then, like, it'd be on a belt around him. He'd stuff it in his pocket and then just sit down on the ground or lay down and stay like that.
So he was punished by trying to make him stand, but then he would lay down. Did you guys ever wake him up on purpose because he wasn't supposed to be sleeping?
Yeah, and we also know one thing about him was that if he slept during the day, he was going to be up all night.
Okay. So you wouldn't let him sleep during the day, essentially?
If he wanted maybe an hour-long or 2-hour nap, we would. But anything longer, we knew that it would start screwing with his actual sleeping.
So who's monitoring this all the time? Like, who's making sure he's not sleeping during the day? Who's making sure he stands against the wall?
When my mother was at work, she'd have me log in before she'd leave. I'd come upstairs and go back to sleep on the couch. I'd set an alarm normally for 10:30 to 11:30 so that I could wake up and be up to keep things going around the house, keep everything in order.
Okay.
So she never did any of this to be harsh.
Listen, I'm in no way questioning whether your mom cared or any of those things. I'm not. But the reality is we just have to talk about how we got to this point and how these decisions were made. So I don't want you to think that.
We also did stop the leg cuffs, I think, a while ago because we noticed that his ankles were swelling. So we stopped that because we didn't want his legs to come
irreparable.
How often were you guys putting leg cuffs on him before that? Was that something like at night to stop him from moving around, or what was it for?
I think we did it once or so. Once, maybe twice at night. One time. I don't know. I'm so lost. I just don't know what to do.
What about handcuffs or zip ties? What did you guys use those for?
Zip ties were either to fasten the vibrational arms to his belt during the day.
Yeah.
Or to put it on his wrist, not too tight where, and I would make sure, after the first time we did it, I would make sure to cut off the end of the zip ties because I had them loose. And then he decided to tighten them to where they were nearly cutting off circulation.
Yeah.
So after that point, I myself, when I was told to put him into zip ties, I'd grab a pair of scissors and snip off the ends to make sure that he couldn't tighten it to where it was cutting anything off.
Were you guys ever zip tying his hands together?
His hands? I think we did once when we had a pair of them that could, the zip cuffs. But again, I cut those off to make sure that he wouldn't tighten. Yeah, because
what was that for? Why would you use those on him?
Normally we have him do this. It was something that I'm not sure if it was my father or my mother back when they were together. But when we were put in timeout, we'd be told to do this.
Paul provided Detective with a detailed account of Timothy's morning, but under relentless questioning, the story began to unravel until he finally admitted it had been entirely fabricated.
My meds. He was in his room. I didn't think to check. I should have, though. I should have seen, made sure he was at least okay, that he was breathing. He could have been gone by the time I'd already gotten home.
Right. So when you first talked to us and you talked to the police, you said he was on his bunk bed, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the truth.
No.
Okay. He was in that closet that's right there by the bunk bed?
Yeah.
Okay. And then your mom had texted you that earlier in the night, or how did you know that he was in there?
I guess at that point it was just something I would already know because I have a slight problem. It's not like a problem, just a small sort of OCD with the light switches.
Okay.
So I go upstairs and I take my meds, and normally the light switches by the back door, I want them down, and then when I come over the stairs, normally when I flip it down, the light in the dining room would turn on, so I'd go to the stairs and flip it to turn the light on for the stairs, and the ones in the dining room off. Go downstairs and then flip that switch to get the stairs off, and then the one in there would turn on, and that was how I would know he wasn't in the bed. And then go and turn the ones off at the start of the hall, and then turn off the light with the switch by my bedroom.
So you know he's not in the bed?
Yes.
So you told us that you heard him snoring. Was that a lie?
Yeah.
And did you come up with that on your own, or did somebody ask you to say that he was in the bed? It's okay.
I know.
It's okay.
I feel so guilty, like I could have done something at any point in this.
But you're not. You're his brother. And you have a mother that's telling you what to do. And so, I understand why you feel the way that you do, but at the same time you have to look at it. You think that your mother's telling you to do what's best for him, right? That's what you've been telling me since
Yeah.
you were
And I know she wants what's best for all of us.
So, I'm back to my question. Did somebody ask you to say that he was in the bunk bed?
I came up with that on my own because I didn't want. I feel so guilty.
You came up with that on your own?
Yeah, because.
So tell me what really happened in the morning then, because obviously.
As the fabricated story unraveled, the true events of that morning began to take shape. A late-night message emerged, exposing the final hours of Timothy's life, truths Paul could no longer deny.
We had to get him out of the closet to try and resuscitate.
So it's you and your mother that tried to get him out of the closet?
We did get him out, and we tried tried to
Was it, who noticed him first? You or
my mother.
Okay. Did she ask you via text to check on him on the way up? That's not what happened. She said, hey, can you check on him on your way upstairs? Do you remember that text message at all?
No.
Okay.
There might have been one that I didn't see, but...
Okay. So you guys pull him out of the club.
We tried to resuscitate him. We gave him rescue breaths. His breath smelled horrible. I thought maybe he might have still been capable of being resuscitated because his mouth was still wet.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe it had just been recent, so we could do something. But
when you were at work, right? You came home at about 2. Does that sound right, or is that?
Yeah, that was true because what was it? It was the day after the 4th of July or so. What's today's date?
Yeah, today's the 7th.
The 7th.
The secrets didn't stop there. Under questioning about Timothy's condition, Paul admitted that a message had been sent with detailed instructions even before the police reached the scene.
I think we had put him in pants, or sweatpants, but I don't know, maybe some point in the night he took them off. I don't know about
When you say we, you weren't there though when we went to bed, right?
No.
So how would you know if we put him in sweatpants? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So do you know if he had pants on or not when we went
No,
back?
honestly. But he didn't have them when we got him out. He had the diaper on, at least.
So he has the diaper on. You're saying that he has his shirt on? What shirt did he have on?
The very same sweatshirt that we found him in. Because obviously we didn't want him to get cold. Or I don't think Mama wanted him to get cold. I'm pretty sure she texted me about that. I'm not sure.
Okay. So you guys pull him out. Does he have pants on or no pants on?
None, no.
And when we get there, he has pants on?
Yeah, she had me put them on.
She asked you to put pants on?
What
was that for?
I don't know. I just...
And so you guys, at that time, she decides that she's going to lie to him and say that he was in the bunk bed? I don't understand.
I don't know.
Clearly
She doesn't want to seem like she's bad, that we weren't. And even if that's what if it somehow ended up like that, it was never intentional.
Right. Well, what you're saying, I mean, if we talk, right, there's all these things where, like, she didn't want to seem like this, she didn't want to seem like this, she didn't want to seem like this. Did you know that it all seems like that, right?
Yes, I know.
It does. And he clearly was neglected because he from it, right? The reality is that he was. That's why we're here talking today. So, he was very much neglected. And the fact that, you know, she had asked you to put hot sauce on his private parts.
She asked, but I never did. I never did that? No.
Okay. And she had asked you to put hot sauce directly into his mouth. Did you do that?
Yes.
Is that on the 5th, the day kind of leading up to all this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. How much hot sauce did you put in there?
As Paul continued to reveal the details, he found himself drawn into the very center of the events, his role impossible to dismiss.
What is the hot sauce that you used? Is that the one that was in the bathroom, or is there a different one?
That was the one in the bathroom, yeah.
Okay. How did you feel about lying during this? How does that make you feel?
I just hate it. I know she doesn't want to be the bad guy. She never wanted this. We loved him so much. And
I don't think it's about love at this point. I think it's about not knowing what to do, not knowing how to handle the situation.
We didn't know how to do anything.
I don't think we
never. The worst punishment I'd ever gotten in Oklahoma, it was my father. He spent me with a belt so hard that my butt was bruised.
Yeah.
And at another point, they had me do wall sits. He had me do wall sits while holding 2 cans of chicken noodle soup out like this. And that was when I was in high school. And I could hardly get to school the next couple of days because I had to walk. And my limbs were so stiff and filled with lactic acid that it was just painful to try and even get across the street. And again, bruises on my backside too, where it was really hard to sit at school.
What other kinds of things? Did you guys ever put hot sauce in your mouth? Did you ever put hot sauce in his eyes or anything like that?
Not that I know of. I think at one point he may have, after he'd eaten, he had forgotten to wash his hands, and rubbed his eye.
Okay.
I know at one point I unintentionally done this.
Did you ever directly put hot sauce into his eye?
No, I remember, but when that happened, I helped him wash out his eyes to make sure that it wouldn't sting so much, or it wouldn't sting at all. I'm not sure if it helped or not, but he said he was good after. I think that was a couple of weeks back.
Okay. What else can you tell me about what happened there at the house? What other types of punishments did you guys have for him?
I know at one point that he was actually refusing to eat. We would give him his food and he would just be stubborn and sit there and just slowly. It was regular bread, nothing else on it. Just chow down to the point where it was basically he was trying to waste time. He could be upstairs.
Where did he spend most of his time?
In his room. We wouldn't make him stand. Sometimes we would have him kneeling, like on his knees, like this, facing one of the corners. But
what was that for? For punishment?
Yeah, I don't even know what it was for at this point. I'm not sure.
But where did he spend most of his time?
It was in that room.
The closet there?
Yeah, I think less than 3 or so weeks ago we were...
Step by step, the detective uncovered the plan, identifying the silent observers, those who acted, and how each move was orchestrated with chilling precision.
They are literally killing your brother.
I know she's not perfect.
How is that love? How is love? How is love ice baths? How is love handcuffing? And how is love restricting movement? And how is love hot sauce in the mouth and only eating bread? What if you only got to eat bread? How would you feel? What if you only got to eat bread with hot sauce? Would you eat?
No.
You're pretty skinny already. It wouldn't take you long.
This is my natural weight. I have an overactive metabolism.
But it wouldn't take you long to be very much skin and bones if all you got to eat was bread and hot sauce. Because how could you eat it? And how could you feel good about eating it? Was he throwing up stuff that he was eating?
Forcefully. He would force himself to get it back up.
When? Like recently, in the last couple weeks?
Yeah. He would force himself, honestly.
You ever think it's because maybe it was painful? It's hot sauce. It's not like that just goes away. Did you ever complain about pain, stomach pain, pain from using the bathroom?
Not that I know of, no. I do know that my mother, she's not perfect, but she's not a bad person.
Do you know, can I ask you this? Do you know of any good people who starved their child to Tell me of one that you know. Tell me of one that you know. That's a child who has a lot of problems, right? That's not a child that's taking care of themselves. They can't take care of themselves because you guys are restricting where he can go and what he can do. And if he does something wrong, you're punishing him by giving him ice baths and hot sauce and only feeding him bread. How is that? How is that a loving person? How is that a loving mother? You know what that sounds like to me? And honestly, the worst mother I've ever met in my entire life. That's what it sounds like to me.
I know. She's not.
Maybe she wasn't to you. Maybe she was a good mother to you. And maybe she wasn't to Gabriel. Sounds like she's a very good mother to Gabriel. But to one of the three children, she didn't care. You can say it. You can say it if you want. She starved him to because he wouldn't stop taking food. Well, maybe he's taking food because he wants to live. Have you ever thought about that?
Under intense questioning, Paul was confronted about the messages and photos he had sent, each one a repeated warning that had been ignored. As the interrogation wore on, the pattern of decisions and omissions came into sharp focus.
Or they would do what was told. You somehow don't think those things are okay. Do you think those things are okay?
No.
Because everybody knows they're not. Except the smartest woman in the room. She's the one person that doesn't know that's not okay? You're joking, right? The smartest woman in the room is the one that doesn't know you can't do those things. No, it's all very intentional. The smartest woman in the room knows. She graduated second in her class from law school. She graduated with honors from college and from law school. But she doesn't know that not giving your kid food is going to make him sick and die?
We gave him food. She even told me to make sure that he had a good amount of. She would tell me on random days. They were never consecutive, I don't believe, for the hot sauce punishment. But other than that, it was always bread and rice. At one point, she even asked me to put some broth. I think that she wanted chicken, but we didn't have any, so I used beef for some rice. She never wanted this. We did.
But she sent her pictures of him looking, right? Looking almost.
Yeah.
That's your brother.
Yeah.
That's June 13th, less than a month ago. You sent this picture to her and you said, he's looking like a skeleton, we need to give him more food. But you guys didn't give him more food over the next couple weeks. You guys gave him less and more punishment and less bread and more bread with hot sauce. That's what really happened. You reached out to her and said, this is scary looking, right? You probably thought, he can barely walk. You sent a picture of his legs, right? You sent this picture of his legs to your mother. Right here. You sent this to her. And what'd you say? Something along the lines of, no wonder he can barely stand up or walk. Look at that. And your mother, being smart and intelligent and the smartest woman in the room, she didn't do anything about that? Didn't think about taking him to the doctor? Didn't think about, like, we have to give him some more food, like, seriously now? Instead, what do you think she did? She gave him less and more punishment. Until what? He ends up. And what did she tell the police? He was always wearing baggy clothes, so I didn't notice anything until last night. Another just blatant lie. Another blatant lie. If this was all an accident, why would she lie to us? If this was all an accident, why wouldn't she just say, we were having a really hard time with him. I thought he was okay. No, she knows that he looked like this. That he looked like this. Look at his face right there. That's not who your brother looked like, is it?
No.
He didn't look like that. Does that look like it? That looks like somebody in a casket that you see at a funeral. That's what that looks like. And it's sickening and disgusting.
Detectives couldn't overlook the inconsistencies. With each probing question, Paul's account began to unravel, leaving the truth tantalizingly out of reach.
Because there's some evidence that somebody hit him in the head pretty hard.
Where? Is his skull? Because I know that would never, I would never try to actually injure him at those points.
What really happened? How did he get that injury in his head? Did you hit him once a little harder than you maybe wanted to? It's okay, man.
Yeah, I think, I remember I kept trying to pick him up after I got him out of the closet, and I think at one point he actually scratched where I pulled away, and he fell, and I think it happened several times, like he was trying to get out of my reach.
Yeah. When was kind of the last time he really hit his head hard or something?
I think it was, I was trying to get him into the bath for the ice bath thing. And yeah, he sort of, I thought he squirmed, but maybe it was something else. I don't know, but he slipped out of my hand and hit his head on the ground. But
what part of his head did he hit?
Was it the sides? I don't know the exact region, because by the time I heard the thud, I was literally about to turn around because I had to stop for a moment to breathe. I was frustrated.
Listen, let me tell you.
I never wanted
Let me ask you a question, okay? The injury to his head, that's not what okay? But what was not eating. But when he just need to know the truth of what really happened, because what you're telling us doesn't make a lot of sense. What really happened to his head? The medical people, there's a medical examiner telling you that that isn't what caused it, but that was there. They just noted that, so I'm just curious what really happened.
I don't know.
Was there like a hard punch or something when you were mad at him?
If I ever was smacking him over the head, it was with an open palm. I never closed my fist.
Maybe like on this one day when you won?
No.
There's never one time where you hit him in the head?
No.
With a fist?
I would long to, but I would walk away because I knew that if I did something like that, I would not only regret it, but if I knew that if something like this had happened, and I had never even been able to apologize.
So where did he hit his head at? You have to remember. You said it was just a couple of days ago. Where did he hit his head at?
I think each time, I'm not sure. I know at one point, I think once it was on the side, another time it was the other side. I'm not sure if there was any in the back, but because
where are you hitting his head? Like
normally it was right here for me. Okay. Just either side a little.
Remember the time you were so mad that maybe you lost a little bit and hit harder than that? Because this is a serious injury.
I wouldn't hurt him like that. No, not even if it was on purpose. I didn't. If it was accidental that it happened, I don't think I would have even realized at this point until someone had probably told me.
Did you ever see your mom hit him?
No. She never raised a hand to him that I know of.
Okay. Did she ever ask you to hit him? Or ever ask you to punish him physically?
No.
By hurting him
no.
Fists or anything like that?
No.
So what's your best guess on how this injury happened to his head? This is a severe injury, so it's not.
Shanda Vander Ark was charged with first-degree murder, child abuse, and Paul Ferguson was charged with first-degree child. In December 2023, following the jury's verdict, the court formally announced Shanda Vander Ark's sentence.
It's a sentence of the court. First, as to count 2, child abuse, first degree. Court sentences you 50 years to 100 years in prison. Credit for 575 days. Court is exceeding guidelines in this case. The court finds that the amount of torture that I've indicated in terms of the long-term suffering that Mr. Ferguson Timothy went through justifies on a reasonable grounds to depart from the guidelines. Used to be the standard was the guidelines. If the guidelines had taken into consideration all the elements, I don't think they would take into consideration the amount of absolute systematic, consistent torture that you engaged in here. I think that's enough reasons to justify departing from the guidelines. There's a $68 state cost, $130 crime victim rights assessment. As to count 1, felony murder. It's a sentence of the court that you serve a term within the Michigan Department of Corrections for the rest of your natural life without parole. Again, there's credit for 575 days that you've already served. There's a $68 state cost. The crime victim assessment fee has already been assessed, and the court is going to assess a $450 public defender fee. Ms. Vander Ark, you have a right to file an application. You have a right to file an appeal. Request for this, if you are unable to afford an attorney, one will be appointed to a public expense. Request for assistance to the lawyer must be made within 42 days from today's date. Clerk is handing you a form that you must complete. Return to the court in that 42 days. Mr. Roberts.
Judge, just briefly, I believe you did indicate you would order that $5,000 in restitution.
Oh, I did. Thank you, Mr. Roberts. The court will order $5,000 in restitution at this time to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services with the caveat that Mr. Johnson, you can certainly, if after the documentation, you can certainly ask for a restitution hearing and to contest that amount.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else for the record, Mr. Roberts?
No, thank you, Judge.
Mr. Johnson?
No, sir.
All right, we're adjourned.
Proceedings resumed in Paul Ferguson's case on March 7th, 2024, to deliver the final decision and formally announce his sentence.
Based on all that, it's a sentence of the court. You serve 30 years to 100 years, Michigan Department of Corrections. Credit for 592 days you've already served. Court's going to assess a $68 state cost, $130 crime victim rights assessment. No additional fines and costs. Mr. Ferguson, you have a right to file an appeal in this case. If you're financially unable to retain an attorney, one will be appointed to a public expense. Request for the assistance of a lawyer must be made within 42 days from today's date. Clerk is handing you a form that you must complete. Return to the court in that 42 days if you wish to request the appointment.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this. Drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.